97% of the water not being drinkable doesn't mean that 97% of the people are dead. But anyway, this is how much water is in Israel. This is the WHO minimum of how much water people should have per person per day. This is Gaza before the war. Oh, look at that. It's under the WHO minimum. This is the emergency minimum. This is Gaza right now. Not only did they lose 97% of their average daily water consumption, but even prior to the war, Gaza had no potable water. The population relied on polluted and rapidly depleting aquifer, as well as a limited number of desalination plants, which Israel bombed, by the way. They also bombed the water infrastructure. This has led to the alarming statistic that 97% of Gaza's water is unfit for human consumption.
Yes, I know the first thing you're going to look at is my cup because you want to make sure it's not Starbucks.
Tell me you don't understand class solidarity without telling me you don't understand class solidarity. I'm convinced the people that have this mindset would have ridden the buses during Martin Luther King's boycott. The concept isn't that hard. Starbucks is literally treating their workers here like slaves, and they're actively supporting a genocide. So we're boycotting them. But people like Brian can't remove themselves from the situation and realize that in order to make change, we have to be working as a collective. It's not about people telling you what you can and can't do with your dollar. Your dollar is literally supporting a genocide. Your dollar is actively exploiting workers over here in the States. This mentality is absolutely disgusting. Starbucks is actively busting unions across the state, trying to minimize the voices of their workers while trying to maximize their exploitation. And let's be honest, the coffee's not that good, and it's so much easier to shop at your local coffee shop than support this big company. Brian's Uncle Ruckus-ass mindset is why it's so hard to make progress in this country. Crabs in a bucket, if you would. Boycott Starbucks, don't be like Brian.
I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty.
You can excuse racism.
I don't think everyone's beautiful. Like, some people aren't aesthetically pleasing to look at, and that's just a fact. And I'm sorry, I'm tired of like, everyone's beautiful.
Beauty is subjective. Get that through your head. Some of y'all are taking this main character syndrome thing a little bit too far because you think your opinions are engraved in stone. In my most recent video, I talked about the Finita controversy. Go ahead and watch that if you have not. But here are some more of my thoughts because I think some of y'all need some things very clearly laid out for ya. Okay? First of all, you are allowed to have your own opinion. You are allowed to look at somebody, not find them attractive. That's good, that's great, that's fine. But what I am saying is that that is your opinion. That is not a fact. The thing is, with Finita, she literally said it's a fact. Not everyone is beautiful. So don't come here saying, oh, it's her opinion, it's her opinion. No. And I'm not naive. When I say everyone is beautiful to somebody, I don't mean everyone looks like a New York 10, everyone looks like some supermodel. What I am saying is that just because you don't find something as beautiful doesn't mean that the next person won't. The reason why this is harmful is because it enforces this hyperfixation and over-importance of looks. It pushes it to the forefront of other people's minds or into the subconscious, okay? It reinforces these negative, mean-spirited beliefs. Especially her being a black woman, that's a whole nother aspect of it too. The thing is, as black women, especially bringing the whole looks debate into it, that's one of the main things that separates us. Light skin, dark skin, featureism, texturism, all these little subcategories that separate us that are all based on looks because we're so focused on it. Okay, and even removing race from this, as women, we have to go through so much bullshit on the regular. And so then to have this unnecessary hot take opinion, it's meant to put others down, push her up. I don't care what you guys have to say because that's literally what she is doing in this clip. The comments in and of themselves prove that her point is just not true and everyone has a different opinion. You do not define beauty. I do not define beauty. You define it for yourself, but you do not define it for the world. Please stop being so entitled.
Oh my god. The comments, is he acoustic? Oh my god, what's wrong with him? Is he acoustic? Make me want to crawl out of my skin. It's so not funny. It's so unfunny that it can't, you know, when some things are just so not funny that you have to laugh, this one is not like that. It's not funny. It's so weird and cringy. It's like almost millennial shit, but they also wouldn't even do that. I don't even think a millennial would do that. If I see a really funny video too, and I'm like expecting the comments to be funny, and I open it and I see the very first top comment, is he acoustic? And there's a bunch of likes, my smile instantly goes like this. Because now you just ruined the video. You just ruined it. And I know they're trying to be like, is he autistic? But like, that's not even funny. If you're gonna ask that, just ask, is he autistic? And no one would be liking your comment. They'd be like, what the fuck are you saying that for? So weird. So weird. Oh my God. So unfunny. Please get a better line, because I'm over it and I want to see funny comments again, and these are like flooding and I don't want to see it ever again. And now I'm saying it, so you have to listen to me. The only thing funny about autism is that one scene where Farkle like gets diagnosed with autism, and they're like, no, he's not autistic, he's just Farkly. Go tell him he's not. And they're like all really mad about it, as if he's gonna die because he has autism. He doesn't have autism, he's just Farkly. Really? Relax, he's not dying. I need to go rewatch that scene because that's funny. Is he acoustic? Shut the fuck up. And that's my stance on that.
Well, for my own safety, I kind of wanted to stay off this topic, but I keep getting asked the question, and I think I should go ahead and, say something about it, seeing as how it does directly affect me and people that I know. Something told me to stay out of the missions, or the shelters. Something told me just don't do that. And so I haven't done that. And I did give a call a couple days ago, and there was only one shelter. They had about 30 beds in it, they said, and it was in one big large place. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna throw myself in with a bunch of dudes like that, fucking sardine can us, and God knows where the hell it was. I mean, they said, would you like us to give you a callback if a smaller shelter becomes available? I said no. Now, I can't give you the location because I don't know what happened, but there's a woman that I frequently barter with who had a camp. Camp had a lot of bicycles and a lot of used parts and stuff, and they made her move around the corner, just directly around the corner, and which was kind of odd. In the process, she had to get rid of a lot of her stuff just to move around that corner, and it just really didn't make any sense to me why they would only make her move that far. It wasn't very far at all. And I told her I'd see her again soon. And I went by the very next day, and they were gone. The tent, all of the bicycle parts, everything they had out there were all gone. None of it was there. Like, they were never there. But I know she was there. And that kind of does bother me, because she wasn't talking about going anywhere. She said she was going to be right there, and now she's, God knows where she is. She had a boy toy friend that was there. I don't know if he was a boyfriend or what, but I mean, he was always, it was always her shit. She was always a shot caller. It was her spot, and I don't know where they went. I have no clue. I know she's got a sister in jail, but that's it. No telling, and it does bother me. So I don't show up on their radar, stay off of the, their homeless fucking shelter list. I don't do any of that. I need to get the fuck out of San Francisco. I'm really trying here. Something told me to stay out of the missions, or the shelters. Something told me just don't do that.
Yep, exact same instincts here. I've been living in a vehicle now for 5 years. About 3 years ago, they did this over in San Jose. I noticed that this traffic went up to Sacramento, California, at least a good portion of it, and it turned into the largest homeless encampment at that time. Now, that's what I thought was going on with this over in San Francisco. However, about 4 days ago, I noticed that the population of homeless in Sacramento evaporated also. Their stuff remains, but every single one of them is just magically gone. Same thing with San Francisco. Now, here's the thing. We have to find those people. We absolutely have to find those people, because again, if you and I both are the only homeless people that I know of that are around, then that means that they were targeting churches, shelters, food banks. They were even using the EBT system, and I can prove it because about 2 weeks ago, California cut off my food stamps. I've been back and forth with them on the phone trying to get that done, and then since I got this news about San Francisco, I gave it up. Because it made me realize that that is how they're finding us. They're triangulating and making sure we vanish. Now, again, up here in Chicago, where I happen to be, the homeless population did the same damn thing. Where are they? Where is everybody? It is important that we find these people, because this is what will make humanity extinct. They're doing it to people whom otherwise would be throwaways anyway. Most of society doesn't give a damn about a homeless person. They really don't. You can find homeless services for a dog a hell of a lot easier than you can even for a homeless woman or a homeless child. It's ridiculous. So they have no problem making us vanish. Here's the thing, though, is it's only one step away from doing it to anyone they please. So we absolutely have to find out where the hell these people are. Absolutely. Because if they decide one day they don't want a middle class, they could just make y'all disappear. This is why you can't just be like, not bad news, didn't happen to me. No, you have to get into this one. You can't let this one slide. Not at all. Not at all. You got to think about it from the grander scheme. You've got 2 homeless people left, and probably only been left behind because we have an audience here on TikTok. You probably only have us left behind because both of us got the instinct to leave the services alone. We know that the government didn't do anything nice with those people. You know they didn't do anything nice because of how the government rolls. Don't you think they'd be out parading saying, look at what all this stuff we've done? Again, the last and final time, again, where the fuck are these people?
Large swaths of homeless populations in large cities are going markedly missing. I'm going to tag the 2 videos below here where I found this information out, but just to, in a nutshell, the cities of San Jose and Sacramento, as well as San Francisco, are currently reporting large amounts of homeless population disappearance. And there is talk of the same thing happening right now in Chicago as well. Any organizations that are state-sponsored cannot necessarily be trusted. If you have any family that is currently homeless or is in danger of becoming homeless, keep an eye on them. Make sure you have a daily check-in. If not, find a way to house them yourselves, even if it's just in the garage. I will explicitly state what I think a lot of sentiments were echoing in those videos. Project 2025. If they can do this in the border camps, if they can do this to the homeless populations, if they can use the media to demonize certain people so that we turn our heads away when they disappear, that's all they need. That's all they need to make their little World War II reenactment fantasies come true. Let me know if there are any other cities where marked disappearances of homeless populations have happened so that I can add it to the list. Thank you.
That's an apartment, not a house. You cannot call an apartment a house. When I'm in your apartment, I feel claustrophobic.
Black people will never be treated as human beings. Like, will forever be treated subhumans. Even pets, like dogs and cats, they get treated better than black people do get treated. And you see this in Africa, and you see this what's happening with Congo right now. And the worst thing about this situation is that it doesn't have to be this way. Like, there's no reason for it to be this way when you can simply trade for the mineral resources that you're killing the people of that country for. Like, a quarter of the planet is dependent on the mineral resources that Congo produces. And there's no reason why you should be killing, mutilating, raping innocent men, women, and children just to get their resources, right? But they don't respect us enough to want to build the relationships that it would require for them to obtain our mineral resources, because they don't have respect for us. Like, we are not human. They don't see us on that same level. And I think this is the legacy of colonialism. Like, people think it was just them invading and taking, but it's also they did it in a way that it would leave like long-term effects, so much so that they would still be able to have an influence.
What if I told you that vintage clothing is not much better than Shein? You'd be shocked, right? I was too when I found out the amount of slave labor that goes into sourcing bulk vintage. So here's an in-depth explanation of the supply chain. Clothing waste from thrift stores, clothing companies that couldn't sell their stock, and other forms of clothing waste get dumped in warehouses in Asian countries. This is where the slave labor happens. The clothing is hand sorted into barrels of categories like men's jeans, men's tops, women's jeans, etc. This sorting happens in awful working conditions. And then those bales get exported back to wholesalers in Western countries. And then those wholesalers are actually just middlemen and haven't done any of the work. Will supply their vintage resellers on TikTok, and then you'll see a video like this. Everyone makes their profits and leaves, and this slave labor fueled industry is disguised as ethical clothing. So what now? Well, I formed a small team of beautiful women to say that we're the world's first warehouse. Does all of it sorting in-house, also paying our workers a livable wage, for having them overwork, and all of our production in small scale. We don't let a single item of clothing go to waste. You shop with me, you shop clothing that is saved from landfill from our own two hands. Clothing that supports its workers, some free meals, free healthcare, gives them the highest wages in the zone, employs no slave or child labor, one step at a time, trying to change the game of vintage reselling. Let's not turn vintage reselling into fast fashion. If you want to switch to ethically sourced vintage, come shop the right things from the right people. Link in bio.
Mansplaining is something that should be normalized and celebrated.
First off, if you could, just moderate your tone just a little bit more, just kind of, it just feels very aggressive. But let's hear what you have to say.
When men explain things to other men, we fully explain both the problem and the solution in one go.
Just to play devil's advocate here for a second, I do believe that you believe that's what happens.
And if the man on the other side already understands the problem, he will bluntly look you in the eye and go, let's just skip ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off here. But in case anyone watching, I'm worried that people watching may have misunderstood. Right? I think what he was trying to say was that, when we cut you off in an argument, it's not that we don't care what you have to say. It's that we already know anything you're going to say already. There's no value that we're going to gain from you simply repeating things that we already know as men.
We know that the explainer isn't patronizing or belittling us. He's simply laying out the pieces to solve the logical puzzle. And he's doing it because he cares.
He's right. Men are the only logical ones. We're not physiologically capable of having emotion or using or dealing with or understanding emotion, except for anger. But that's not a real emotion.
But how do women perceive this? Women are feelers. So they feel like they're being talked down to and just take immediate offense.
It sounds to me like you're getting defensive over what you perceive to be women getting defensive.
They also famously never want to hear solutions. They would rather discuss their current feelings than eliminate the problem causing them to feel that way.
Is that the famous thing that women are known for? Hating solutions? Is that the thing they're known for? Is it?
So men are trying to help women solve problems quickly out of love and care.
Not all men. Not all men.
And rather than being appreciated and thanked for those actions, they're being rewarded with labels of mansplaining and toxic masculinity.
I think you should probably educate yourself a little more on this issue. You're being ridiculous.
I'm sorry, did you see Matt Rife's Instagram story? I'm never one to throw my hat in the ring to talk about celebrities in this way, but oh my god. I know there's a lot of buzz around his Netflix special. I haven't watched it yet. I was going to. But apparently there are a few jokes in there that people are getting offended by or upset about, and in response he posted this. If you've ever been offended by a joke I've told, here's a link to my official apology. And the link is to special needs helmets. I'm not making this up. This is still on his story. If he was upset that people were offended by his jokes, he could have just not said something. I feel like celebrities and comedians always make it worse when they try to double down or make a joke about people's offense. And the special needs thing, come on.
Y'all gotta get on this boycott shit. You gotta get on it ASAP. It is not that bad. I keep seeing people saying they got boycott fatigue. They can't go another day without drinking Mountain Dew. It's a net positive to do the boycott, dude. Because on one hand, hey, you can't drink Mountain Dew, you can't drink Pepsi, you can't drink Dr. Pepper. Okay, you could go buy a cheaper alternative like Green Mountain or Dr. Peter, right? And that's cheaper. That's better for your wallet, right? Or you could just drink water. That's better for you. And it's cheaper too. This is a win-win thing, you know? I'm not better than anybody. I scabbed day one, I think. I think literally day one of the boycotts, I didn't know that like pro-Israel brands were being boycotted yet. I didn't even know there were so many pro-Israel brands. And I went to McDonald's and I got a free fry. And my comments were on my fucking ass, and I'm happy they were, because then I looked into the BDS list and shit, and I saw all the stuff you can't eat, and it's really not that bad, dude. I know a lot of people didn't grow up on bootleg-ass products like Coco Roos and fucking Rainbow Flakes. You know, not everybody ate that shit growing up, but now's the time. You gotta get on it, man. It's cheaper, or you can avoid that shit entirely, and it's just better for you, you know? This is literally like a win-win scenario. Fucking the people in Gaza benefit if you don't do this shit, and you benefit, and your wallet benefits. Get on the boycott. Boycotting rocks. It is your right to boycott. Do that shit. It is your right to fucking boycott, dude. It's awesome. I see so many people that are like, it is our right to protest. And it is, and protesting's awesome. But then whenever they can't drink Dr. Pepper anymore, then it's a problem. It's not that bad, dude. I went to the store yesterday. I got some Dr. Peter. Right hand to God. I got a soda called Dr. Peter because I was craving a Dr. Pepper, dude. I wanted the feeling of a Dr. Pepper. Looked at the list. They're on there. Can't drink it. I got a Dr. Peter. The fucking bottle said Dr. Peter. Brown soda. I'm like, okay, this could be anything. This could be fucking anything, but I see doctor in the name. Dude, that shit was root beer. It was root beer, but I'll tell you what, I fucking love that root beer. That lifted me up. That lifted my spirits. I had a better day after drinking that root beer. And it's because I knew it was root beer for the right cause.
Why are you here today?
Why would I not be here?
Because genocide is taking place in Gaza.
To demand a ceasefire for the people of Palestine. Because all of our freedom is interconnected.
To free Palestine.
To free Palestine.
We're here to free Palestine.
Free Palestine means a free world.
If we're not all free, then no one's free.
For all of us.
We won't rest until everyone's free.
This is a list of 5 ableist phrases and their preferred substitutions. Now, oftentimes what happens is we don't even realize these daily expressions have very ableist undertones, so I would like to shed some light on a few of them and help you become a better person. Starting off the list, we have disabled person or person with disabilities. Now, I know a lot of people have their preference, but if you're talking to me specifically, the right thing to do is just say, "Hi, Tyler." Number 2 is the phrase, "take a walk." If you're talking to somebody in a wheelchair, instead of "take a walk," you're going to want to say, "take a roll around town, Dr. Brown." Please note that this won't work everywhere around the world. If you're in the UK, for example, you're going to want to say, "take a cheeky spinny." Number 3 is step-by-step instructions. Whether you want me to take the first steps on a long journey or walk me through a project step-by-step, you lost me. It's ableist. The correct thing to do is do it for me. Number 4 is the concept of measuring things by feet. Now, if you want to be more inclusive, 1 foot equals 3 wheels. For instance, if something is 2 feet away, it's actually 6 wheels away. And if you're 6 foot tall, you're 5'11". Last but not least is the phrase, "one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Most people in wheelchairs don't actually believe the moon landing happened, so this isn't that big of an issue.
على أرض تلاقيني أنا لأهلي أنا فديهم أنا دمي فلسطيني فلسطيني فلسطيني.
Bombastic side eye, criminal offensive side eye. Do you understand?